Today's notes are going to be over graphing linear inequalities. Now this may look familiar because we just did linear equations, where a linear equation is in the form of y equals mx plus b, where the m is my slope and my b is my y-intercept. So it's going to be very similar, we just have a couple things that are going to be different. So let's just quickly do a review of linear equations. When we have our linear equation in y equals, I can identify my m and my b. So in this example right here, my m is 2, or 2 over 1, because I want to know my rise and my run for graphing. And then my b is my y-intercept, which is at -3. So now we can graph our line. We always start with our b, which is our y-intercept, so we go to -3 on the y-axis and we make a point. From this point, we're going to do rise over run, so we're going to go up 2 since it's positive and over 1. Up 2 over 1. And we keep doing that. And then we go the opposite direction. And we connect our line. So this is what the line looks like for y equals 2x minus 3. Now, an inequality is very similar to an equation. The only difference is that an equation has an equal sign and an inequality has an inequality sign, and there's 4 options. This one says less than or equal to. So all this symbol is going to tell me is if my line is solid or dotted and where to shade. So because of this equal to part of the inequality symbol, my line is solid. Okay, so my solutions are on the line, and my line is solid. But this less than is telling me that I need to shade the area under the curve. Or not the curve, the line, I'm sorry. So under the line, I have this area right here. So on an inequality, a linear inequality, my solutions are all on the shaded area, or in this example, on the line, since my line is solid. So when we're asked for solutions for an inequality, we can pick any points that fall in the shaded area or on the line. So we're going to list 3 here that we can choose. So I'm just going to pick random points. I'm going to pick this as a solution, and it's 3, 0. I'm going to pick a point on the line. I'm going to pick our y-intercept, and that's 0, -3. I'm going to pick one more point. Let's say this one right here. And this is 2, 1, 2, 3, -4. Okay, so these are all possible solutions. I could have picked any other points that fell in the shaded area or on the line. These are just 3 random ones that I picked. So before we do some more examples, we're just going to cover some vocab and make a little tree diagram that's going to be very helpful in case you forget when to shade or if my line is solid or dotted and so on. So on top, I'm going to put my symbols. We're going to start with the greater than symbol. Okay. So the type of line is going to be dashed, or some people call it dotted. Okay, so because I do not have the equal to under the line, my line is dashed or dotted. So this is called greater than. And because it's greater, I'm going to highlight all the area that's above the line. So if my line's right here, the area above it is right here. So all my solutions, possible solutions, lie above the line. Now if I have the symbol for less than, which looks like this, My line is still dashed or dotted because there's not an equal to under the inequality symbol. But the only difference now is that instead of having the solutions above the line, they're going to be under the line because they're less than. So now my solutions are going to be right here. Or right here. And on this one, I forgot to do this example for the greater than. So this is what greater than also looks like on a negative slope. Okay? So on this first example right here, my slope is positive, under the curve looks like this. If my slope is negative, like in this example, the under is to the left. Okay, and then the next two, I have greater than or equal to. So greater than or equal. I have a solid line. Okay, so my line are solid like the pictures above, that the greater than is telling me I need to shade above, just like on the first example. So when I have a positive slope like the first picture, above is right here. If I have a negative slope, above is right over here to the right. And then on the last one, I have less than or equal to. My line is still solid because of the equal to part, like seen on these two examples below, but now we're going to shade under the curve, the line. So on this first example, I have a positive slope. Under the line looks like this. And when my slope is negative, under the line looks like this to the left side. So you have to be really careful where you shade, because the slope, if the slope is positive or negative, changes where you shade. So this is a helpful, really awesome cheat sheet that you can use when you graph in case you forget. Okay, so now we're just going to practice some examples. On this first example, my inequality is already in mx plus b, so I just need a label. My m is 2/3 and my b is a positive 2. So now I'm going to start at the y-intercept, which is at 2. I have a positive slope since my m is positive. I'm going to go up 3 and to the right, up 2 to the right 3. Up 2 to the right 3. Then in the opposite direction. And now, before I even make anything, I connect my points, I need to look at my inequality symbol right here. This is greater than, but not equal. So because it's greater and not equal, my line is dotted. So I'm just going to dash or dot the line. Don't color it in all the way. Because it's greater, I'm going to shade above the line. So above the line is this area right here. And I shade that in. Okay, so now we'll list a couple possible solutions. I'm just going to pick some random points. I'm going to pick this one. This is 0, 4. And then I'll pick this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. -5, 0. And then let's just pick this one. -2, 3. And on this example, because my line is dotted, I cannot pick any points that are on the line, but I can pick any points that are in the shaded area that are solutions. So that's called the boundary line, and it's excluded because it's not equal on our symbol. Okay, so here's another example. it's already in y and mx plus b, so I just label my m and my b. My m is -3 over 1, and then my b, or my y-intercept, is 4. I'm going to change the color up. Let's do pink. So I start at 4 on the y-axis, and this slope is telling me to go down 3 since it's a -3 and run 1. So down 3 over 1. Okay, and just like before we try to draw our straight line, because that's what we're used to, we're going to look at our inequality symbol, and it's a greater than or equal to. And because it's equal, my line is solid. So now I can connect them. I don't have to make that dashed line. So here's my line. Now my symbol reads greater than, so I'm going to shade above the line, and the area above is right here. Possible solutions, I can pick any that are on the line or in the area that's shaded. I'm going to pick my y-intercept, which is 0, 4. Then I'll pick this point, which is 1, 4. And then I'll pick this point, it's 3, 0. And on this example, my boundary line is included because of my equal to sign in my inequality symbol. Okay, so we have a couple more examples. On this one, I have y is greater than 3. So my slope is 0 since there's no mx. So another way to write this would be y is greater than 0x plus 3. Since the x is missing, it's a 0x, and my b, my y-intercept's at 3. So if you remember from our slope man, our undefined, or our 0 slope line is like his mouth. So we're going to go to 3 on the y-axis and make a point right there, and now we have a solid, we have a horizontal line across. So I just put some random points that are horizontal. And now before I connect my points, I look at my symbol. My symbol says greater than, but not equal, so my line is dotted or dashed. So I just dash my line right here. And now because it says greater than, I'm going to shade above the line. And this one's pretty obvious. The above is all the numbers on top of. So I just shade that area right there. And on here, we don't ask you to label some possible solutions, but it's important for you to notice that you can't pick points that are on this dotted line, but you can pick any points in the shaded area, like this point right here. So that point is a possible solution, which is 0, 6, or anything in that area. Okay, now on this example, let me change up the color again for fun. This one, it's x is less than or equal to -4. So if you remember on our slope man that we drew to the left, and on this one, we have an undefined slope. So it's going to be like his nose right here. So we're going to go to -4 on the x-axis and make a point, and it's going to go up and down along this point that we drew. It's going to be a vertical line, as you can see from his nose on the slope man. Now before we connect our points, we look at our symbol. It has the line underneath, which means equal, so my line is solid, so I can connect all these points like this. And now it's saying that I'm picking, all the x's that are less than or equal to -4. So all the numbers that are less than or equal to -4 are to the left, because on a number line, as we go to the left, my numbers get smaller. So we're going to shade this whole area. And again, we don't ask you right here to label possible solutions, but it's important to note that on this one, you can pick points on the line and on the shaded area. Okay, we have two more, sorry. Okay, so on the last two, our equation is not in y equals mx plus b, so we're going to have to solve our inequality first, like we practiced before Thanksgiving, and then we'll label our m and b and graph the line. So on this first example, remember we have two steps. We're going to move the term that has the x to the other side. So on this one, I have a negative 2x, so I'm going to add, that kind of looks like divide, so let me erase that. We're going to add 2x to both sides. I bring down the 3y. I bring down my symbol. I cannot add a 2x to a 6, so I just put them together, 2x plus 6, and divide by the number next to y, which is 3 on this one. And remember, when we're solving, if we multiply or divide, we have to be careful, because if the number we divide by is negative, we flip our symbol. But since the 3 is positive, I have no flipping to worry about. So these cancel, and I get y is greater than 2 over 3x plus 2. So now my m is 2 over 3, and my b is 2. And I can graph my line. So I start at 2 on the y-axis, and I'm going to go, it's a positive slope, so I go up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3, and then the backwards direction, down 2 over 3. Okay, before we try to connect our points, we look at our symbol. It says greater than, so it's a dotted line or dashed. So we do not make a solid line. And now because it's greater, I shade above this line. And above the line looks like this area right here. Okay. So now we can list some possible solutions. We can pick anything in the shaded but nothing on the line. So let me just pick some points. I'll pick this one. This one is 0, 4. Then I'll pick this one. It's negative 3, 1. And I'll pick this one. Negative 6. Sorry, not negative 6, negative 5. 5. Okay, and then this one, it's excluded because of its dotted line, not solid. Okay, last one, let's do purple. Okay, so again, it's not in the form mx plus b, so I have to solve first for y, and then I'm going to graph. So I subtract the number that has the x first, the term. So I'm going to put a 1 there because I'm going to need it later. So I'm going to subtract 1x on both sides. Those cancel. I bring down the negative 3y, my symbol. I cannot subtract those, so that's negative 1x minus 6. And I divide by negative 3 on both sides. But be careful, I divided by a negative, so I have to flip my symbol. Those cancel. I have y, flip my sign. 2 negatives makes a positive 1/3 x. 2 negatives, when I divide negative 6 divided by negative 3, is a positive 2. So now this is my inequality symbol right there. So now my slope is 1 over 3, and then my y-intercept is 2. So I start on the y-axis at 2, and I'm going to go up 1 over 3, up 1 over 3, up 1 over 3, and then the reverse direction. Okay, and before I draw my line, I have to go look at my symbol. It's greater than or equal to, and because it's or equal, I can make a solid line, like so. So now, it also says greater than, so I'm going to shade above the line, which looks like this area right here. Okay. And now for this example, I can pick any points on the line or in the shaded area. So I'm going to pick my y-intercept, which is 0, 2. I'm going to pick my x-intercept, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 6, 0. And then some random point in the shaded area right here, which is negative 2, 4. And then this boundary line is included since it's a solid line. And that's all of our notes for today.